All right, what is up? What is good? We got a new chapter of One Piece. This is 1185. Mind Ya Own Beeswax. I like the rendering of Mind Ya. That's very evocative. Very good representation of a unique type of speech, of somebody's slang, accent, whatever you want to call it. We're in the middle, maybe, of the Brook flashback. We may still be on the leading edge of the Brook flashback. We had a flashback within a flashback to see his childhood adventures and the story of how he became part of the Royal Guard. After that, we know there is a story of how he became a pirate and how Gunko got taken away and brainwashed. So there's still quite a lot of ground to cover. I'm still kind of waiting for some sort of like greater world integration, some incidental world building that they can do, having shown this glimpse of the world of the series 70 years ago, which we have never really seen before this time period. But so far, this has been a relatively constrained flashback. It's almost like a pre-time skip sort of flashback where Oda didn't really have this sort of ambition yet to kind of tell this entire world of stories simultaneously, to use flashbacks as an opportunity to kind of glimpse a lot of other things happening. Instead, he told these very character-driven narratives that were just kind of about explaining the emotional stakes and where, a person's origin comes from as an individual. So here, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to transition from that old style flashback into this sort of broader, more expansive new style of flashback. But so far it hasn't, which is interesting. It's refreshing in a sense. I've been saying lately that, having reread One Piece not too long ago, the biggest thing that struck me was that the greatest strength and the greatest weakness of modern One Piece is that everything has too much significance. Everything has so much interconnectedness, and there's so many answers to so many questions being presented, and everything is all bound up in this gigantic interconnected network of lore. And rarely do we get the opportunity to see something truly unknown. And this is an example of something truly unknown. What was Brook's life before he became a pirate? That was a total, it wasn't even, we were waiting for the answer to that. We didn't even know that was a question we needed answered. And now we are seeing it with all new settings, all new characters, and so far only very tangential connection to anything else in the series. It's its own node, far, far away from everything else going on. Okay, the cover page here is Hancock trying to cook something. We are once again treated to the trope of beautiful woman, horrible cook. I'm sure Luffy will eat it anyways. She lucked out in that regard. Okay, so we are still here with Baby Brook. He is learning from the king in his prime, in his youth. When he is still the prince, he is being shown to a whole bunch of pretty ladies. Pretty lady. Skip that one, pretty lady. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Doing his classic show me your panties line. He's got that one in the bank since he was a little kid. His t-shirt, by the way, says Moonlight, I believe. It's either Daylight or Moonlight, but I'm pretty sure it's Moonlight, based on what I can see at the very bottom of the top kanji. Sure. The convoy uniform. That's what I want to wear someday. So it's like, as a little kid, he still kind of had these glimpses of his personality as a full old man skeleton. This taste in clothing and stuff. But for a long time, he lived this life of servitude and whatever. You're a lucky kid, you know that. Yes, but he is far out of my league. I train very hard with the sword, so I might be as close to him as possible. Of course, the prince. Me? He. And he's learning civility, but it goes nowhere. This reflects his manner of speaking now. I don't know. Often these sorts of like flashback things where you take little character beats and draw them out and be like, well, that's why he says that. You know, the Star Wars movies are full of this kind of nonsense, and the most infamous is maybe the scene in Young Sheldon where he learns to say Bazinga. I think it can be kind of hit or miss. I think here it's like played pretty incidentally, that it's just among many small scenes of him being a little pervert freak. And it's not kind of like a big dramatic moment, you know. Maybe the anime will present it as somewhat more significant, but whatever. Okay, so we transition out of the flashback within a flashback back to the flashback, where Brook, as a young adult, is teaching Gunko, pre-Gunko, about his life. Okay. So here we get the first introduction of the Celestial Dragons. Now, are retconning in effect? Retcon alert? Did Brook know about the Celestial Dragons when they went to Sabaody? I don't know. I don't know if it comes up. They taught Luffy and them about it, of course. And Brook was, like, horrified to see the way they were treating fishmen and stuff and the way they were treating the slaves. But just because he encountered them back here doesn't mean he knows about all of that stuff. I shouldn't laugh, but it was truly as if the sun itself had set. It's only the precursor to wonderful news. Okay, now this is kind of interesting. There's like a kind of a missing step here where the previous king died, presumably, right? And Brook refers to the Celestial Dragon coming as the precursor to wonderful news. Now, the fact that we're not shown any of this either, when, you know, Oda loves to have a two-tier flashback within a flashback and have this actually be depicted. Instead, we're just getting Brook's accounting of the events with his memory of this scene. So it seems to me plausible that the Celestial Dragons killed the current king, and that's why the prince took over. Okay, anyways. And then you were born. Yeah, I don't know. There's like a bit of an implication here that's quite horrific. And apologies if this is unpleasant to hear, but I think this might be implied what's going on. Okay, so Celestial Dragon arrives. They threw their weight around, so to speak. Lady Candel was bedridden for several months after that due to the fatigue. You wouldn't believe how gloomy people were during those months. Now, obviously, the people are gloomy in part just because this beloved icon of the kingdom is bedridden. It's like the sun itself had set. Then the king dies. Then Princess Shuri is born. Do you see what I'm getting at? I think it might be implied that Gunko is the Celestial Dragon's kid, which explains this heterochromatic thing, which might be like a genetic calling card. It explains why they eventually came and took her away. I could see that being a big revelation when they come to get her, and they're like, under what authority, under what logic, why the hell are you just taking this princess? Oh, that's because she's my daughter, and I can prove it. See, she has the same eyes as me, or whatever. And then you learn this whole horrid truth that basically Lady Candel was, you know, yeah, unpleasant. But I might be way off. I might be totally off. I just had that inkling because there's a couple odd things about this scene. Just the way certain little story beats are skipped, which is not Oda's style. I kind of think that's the biggest clue you can get for anything going on in One Piece is when something is not shown and just described, you almost know for certain that the description is not accurate. Because if it was an accurate description, we'd just see it. Okay, anyways, let's see. What would you do if it was me in danger? The same thing, of course. Give up my life indeed. Because it's you. Okay. They're happy home. See, too, if this theory is correct. Now, here's another thing. This just occurred to me. Doesn't the king also kind of look a lot like Rocks and Blackbeard? Am I getting crazy now? At the beginning, I was like, I'm not sure how this flashback is going to connect with like the rest of the world and the lore and the story and stuff. And now I'm just like, obviously the king is Rocks' father. He's got the same eyelashes thing. He's got the same eyelashes thing. He's got the same nose. He's got the same crazy hair. Okay, we're gonna see. But cute stuff. Idyllic bliss. And the thing too is that means that Gunko isn't of Davy blood or whatever, right? It creates kind of like a tragic moment for the king character. Knowing, or assumedly knowing this whole time, that this daughter was not genetically his, but loving her anyways, because she is still his daughter. Okay. When you want to be independent from your parents, why not sing this song for a change, princess? Mind your own beeswax. And of course, remember, this is all a story Brook is telling the rest of the Straw Hats. in the course of a few minutes while they decide what to do because all of Elbaf is being attacked by an immortal god being. And he's going, then I taught her another song. This one goes like this. What's that supposed to mean? It's a phrase from Kamigata, a land to the west. Another heretofore unmentioned country. Interesting. I like this one of her scaring him with a skeleton. If you recall, Brook was terrified of skeletons, terrified of himself. Mind your own beeswax. I ain't some puppy dog lured by the candy store. I ain't a kid at all anymore. Whoa. What the hell? The year that Shuri turned 15, Asperia lost its music. The kingdom was shrouded in a deep and terrible mist that lasted for half the year. The country's heritage, its treasured instruments, all rotted, and the mist curled into smog that swallowed the island whole. From that point on, the streets were filled, but not with music, but the sounds of coughing. Jesus. I didn't see this coming. I had my theories. You heard them. Okay. Everybody dying, everybody hacking up a fit. Lady Candel dies. Wait, does Lady Candel also have the heterochromatic eyes? Mine? No. She doesn't. Yeah, no, she doesn't. Okay. Right? Yeah. No. can no longer afford to make the heavenly tribute payments to the world government. Oh boy. And here it begins. Sometimes as if you can see into the future, princess. You have the potential, but I don't think your father will allow princess to fight on the front lines of battle. Father seems to have something weighing on his mind. See, Brooke also, when he's alive, has the is he gonna be Brooke, Davy, whatever? Davy D. Brooke? Thought you wanted to be a pirate, Brooke. Okay. Where is this going? Where is this going? There's going to be a war against the world government. Understood. At least tell us why, Your Majesty. They demanded 1,000 slaves from us. That's the only way to get over head-bleeding tribute payment this year. Okay. This is very bold of him to decide. I'm going to declare war against the world government. The true, they'll pillage everything we have. I heard another country in the West Blue got wiped off the map. Okay, and Brooke sings another out-of-tune song among all these dilapidated people on his junky, rotten guitar. Where the boss don't want to go, full of samurai warriors and towering giants, so watch out for all of them. Singing about the new world. Give them a little bite and they'll be weak in the knees. They're all running from a swarm of bees. Better think twice because you got nothing to lose. True, true. Might as well go down swinging. Then get ground down slowly by the boot heel of an oppressive government. Land at North Harbor. Find your own beeswax. We're only in the corner of the map, but our name won't be erased just like that. This is one place you can't steal from us. This is good, man. This is good stuff. I like seeing this scene of futile rebellion against the world government. Because, like, so often we hear stories that are predicated around the oppressive might of the world government, having to pay the heavenly tribute, having to surrender, having to give up nothing, give up everything, give up nothing, give up everything. We've seen this tragedy before in Ohara, of course, but Ohara obviously was not even equipped to fight back. They had only the archaeological team in terms of people that were at all combat ready. And then we see, successful defenses against the world government. Times where they managed to throw off their yokes. But this idea of just a inferior fighting force struggling valiantly to push back. The garden we strolled through all those times is now burning. The dump where we hung out is ablaze. The corners of the map are shining. Feel your courage slip away once you taste my vicious blade. Okay, Brooke running up the stairs. Ooh. Damn. And there's demonified Shuri. Now Gunko, basically. One of the 5 elders looking on. And in the back, Some Marine guy. Or no. That's their uniform. That's somebody from their kingdom. Uh-oh. What happened here? We're gonna need another flashback. Damn. Okay. Scary shit, dude. Scary shit. The theory I had about Gunko being actually one of the Celestial Dragon's kids still may come to pass. I don't know. This all happened a lot more violently and suddenly than I expected. If you see, too, the king has also been demodified. He's got the devil wings and the devil horns, too. And what's the deal with the guy in their own army sitting there smoking? What is going on? The war's gonna be over, Brooke. Okay, well, we'll find out next week. See you then.